You know, it's so easy to get caught up in trying to anticipate what your ex is doing, what they're going to do, what shoe is going to drop next, what hammer is going to fall. And the problem with that is that you spend too much time focusing on your ex and what might happen, and less time on your own life and the things that you can control. Bottom line, you really can't control anything that your ex is going to do. Whatever they're going to do, they're going to do. You're going to have to deal with it when it happens. And getting too wrapped up in that can really be detrimental to you, because it keeps you in a state of anxiety and fear and depression, where you're just trapped trying to figure everything out. I mean, it's a normal response. I mean, it absolutely makes sense, because whenever you get blindsided by this and things start happening and the smear campaign happens and the triangulation happens, you get into this reactionary defensive mode where you're just trying to counter what they're doing. And it's a really weird balance, because in some way you feel like you have to defend yourself, that you have to attack their accusations head on, because you think that if you don't, that people are going to believe what's going on, that they're going to guilt by omission, right? That if you're not fighting it, then that must mean it's true. I heard that on the news today. Somebody was saying, well, if you're not fighting accusations, then there must be merit to those accusations. Bottom line, you really aren't going to be able to control what other people think. You're not going to be able to convince them. If they don't already believe you, or if they're more inclined to believe your ex, you're really not going to be able to change their mind. So the problem is that whenever you do get stuck in these modes where you're trying to fight it, you are keeping yourself tied down to your ex and keeping yourself trapped in that space with them. The thing that you really need to do is you really have to start working on your own life. You really have to start rebuilding what you can and trying to modify things the best you can. That's really tough, because you can get caught up in the anger and the bitterness about everything you've lost, and you can be saying, well, Dwayne, I can't. I mean, I've lost everything. I don't have any money. I don't have a place to live. I don't have medical insurance. I don't have, this, that, or the other. And those are all legitimate concerns. And they're legitimate things to be angry about. But at the end of the day, you have to really take a hard look and decide if you can even control those things. If you've done everything you possibly can, then it's really irrelevant, because, you're not going to just by sheer anger and bitterness make that change. You're absolutely not going to make your ex feel guilty about the situation they put you in, because they don't care. They only care about themselves. If they're taking all your money, they're not going to care, because they think it's them. And if they're not giving you enough money, they're not going to care, because, again, it doesn't pertain to them. So the key on this is really to focus on what you can control. Take an objective look at your situation. Try to put in a little box the pieces of it that really make you mad, and say, okay, this is my situation. This is my new reality. Keep in mind, the new reality also includes that this person isn't in your household, or isn't in constant control of your life. It may feel like it, but at the end of the day, ask yourself the question, unless you're still with them, are they in the same room with you at night? So look for those victories to help you process this wherever you can find them, and then start to focus on your own life. Start to focus on what you can control. Don't couch it in what your life used to be. Don't compare it to what your ex is doing compared to what you can do. What you have to do is you have to look at your situation just solely and singularly as your situation. If you don't have any money to do stuff with the kids, then come up with other things. Play card games, play imaginary games with them, depending on how old they are. Try to do something to where you can still have that connection, and you can still find some happiness and joy in your life. Now, that's not the easiest thing to do. I'll give you that. It's really tough. And whenever you're looking at a situation, and like I said, and you find yourself trying to compare, what could have happened and what should have happened, and how wrong this is, it doesn't really help you progress on. And the other part about this is to keep in mind is your ex wants to keep you in that state of fear and chaos. So one of the things that helped me get through this and to help me process it was to remember and think that this is what she wants. She wants me to be in this mode. She wants me to be destitute. She wants me to not have any money and be worried and be frustrated and be thinking about her all the time and thinking about what she's getting away with. Your ex is doing the same thing. And the sad part is in these situations, when you fall into those traps, you're giving them that power. When I would stop and I would get frustrated because my ex was able to do things with the kids that I wasn't able to do, or I mean, it's both ways. Whenever she was getting more money and she wasn't doing certain things, or she was doing certain things, it was annoying because I couldn't. Then later, whenever she wouldn't do stuff, because what her normal thing is that she won't pay for anything, so she's trying to basically make me pay. You know, it's like, haha, you know, I'm making you pay. And when I fell into that trap, then she was effectively winning still. She was effectively still controlling my emotions, controlling my mood. For what? You know, I lost time in my life post-divorce or post-separation where she was still had the same emotional control that we had when we were married. But you can take that back. You can decide that, okay, I've had enough of this, and you can't control my life anymore. You can't control my emotions anymore, and I'm going to pick up the pieces and move on. And it's hard to do, guys. It is super hard to do when you're bitter and angry, and when you want some accountability, you know. And I think for me, I had to go through a lot where I was trying to fight that. I was trying to get that justice. I was trying to get the fairness. And after a while, when I realized that I wasn't going to be able to accomplish that, you know, that I didn't have the money to litigate it in court anymore, and I didn't have the resources to, well, mainly money, to be able to fight it, to really hold her accountable on every point, I got really angry about that, and it really negatively impacted me for a really long time. And then I finally woke up, literally, and just said, I'm done. I'm done. I am not going to give her power. And that's when I started to make that shift, that pivot to what can I do to minimize her effect over me. Now, there's still times that she still has effects on me, and you know, I mean, they're still going to continue their tactics and their shenanigans. You're not going to get them to stop that. But what you can do is you can minimize how it impacts you. And the really good part is if you can play this right to where they think they still have control, then they'll be happy because they think that they still have that emotional control over you and they're still able to get to you. And when they can't, and when they're not really doing it, then they leave you alone because they are getting that little supply thinking that they're pushing your little button and you're responding, so they don't have to push harder. They don't have to try something different to get you to recognize them. I'm not sure if that really makes a lot of sense. Hopefully it does, because it's really helped me. It's really helped my situation. And it's given me the ability to start focusing on my life, on the things I want to do, and finding the joy in you know, my daily life. And a lot of times it's hard to believe that I've gotten to that point because I really didn't think I was ever going to be there. I mean, it's like, how do you get that bitterness and that anger and that blackness out of your heart when you've been wronged and you feel that, or you know that the system hasn't been fair. So, you know, all right, hopefully that helps you guys. Hopefully it gives you something to think about. And I'll chat with you on the next video. Take care. Bye.